Hi, sixth grade. So we are starting our new unit this week on China, believe it or not. I know some of you have started the work already in your history packets, your purple packets that you came and picked up. But today we're going to look at the geography of China and why that led to such a unique culture for them. Before we do that, I've got the map here. You're going to want to get that map out as well. I'll be drawing on the map and you're going to follow along. But I want to show you a few things and to also talk to you about how you can earn free dojo points. Yes, you can still earn dojo points at home. So I'm going to tell you how to do that. Hold on just a second. All right, I'm back. So one of the ways that you can earn dojo points from home is by answering some hidden questions. Throughout the videos, I'll be just, kind of randomly shouting out some dojo things that you can jot down in your notebook, keep a record of those, and then email them to me at the end of the day, and I will give you dojo points if you get the answer right. Okay, so this first one that I have today is just wanted to show you a couple things that I actually have from China. So I have a friend of the family who's traveled all over the world, and he always brings me back unique gifts everywhere he goes. And so he went to China with his wife, and they brought me back two very special gifts. One is this beautiful silk scarf, so you can see the detailed work on that. Yesterday, if you read the story, you learned that the main character, the mother in the story, was weaving her silk. As she was weaving, she was also making decisions for her and her son and where they should live, and actually ended up they moved several times, right? So this scarf was a gift for me. It's very soft, very silky, from China, and it was handmade there. And then next I've got this little bag, and inside the bag there's a special little present. So I'll open that up. Oh, kind of fell out here. A little box. And it is a bracelet with 3 pearls. So it's made of silver and pearls. You can see it there. So your first dojo question for history, it's actually twofold. It's what are the 2 gifts that my friend brought me back from China? So if you can answer those, jot that down. Email me those answers and I will give you dojo points. The next dojo point question is actually going to be, what colors do I use on the map today? Now, you don't have to use these colors, but I do want you to grab 7 different colors. I recommend colored pencils because those will be easier to work with, but you can use marker or pens as well. Just be careful. I know some of you love those flare pens, and if you make a mistake, you're not going to be happy with yourself. So color pencils, probably the easiest choice for me, so I'm going to be working on those. But you don't have to use the same colors. As I said, just find 7 colors of your own and write down the colors I use, and you'll get a dojo point for each question, each color you get correctly. So lots of dojo points up for grabs here, guys. And I'm going to be working out some fun prizes that you can earn from home. Maybe some rewards you can earn from home when you buy those dojos. So I'll get a whole new menu sent out to you guys soon. All right, so we're going to be working again on our China map. Please make sure you're there and ready to follow along. So I'm going to take you step by step through some of the features, the geography features of China that led to it being so isolated, which created a unique culture unlike any other that we've studied so far. So the first feature that I want you to mark on your map is the Gobi Desert. And the Gobi Desert is going to be up in this region here. So you're going to write Gobi Desert. And then if you want to shade in like some of, sandy shores, that's kind of why I'm going for the sandstone color. You can do that. So the Gobi Desert is actually the 5th largest desert in the world. It's got this yellowy sand that blows into the river nearby, and it creates a yellow kind of silty look to the river. So the river that flows near that Gobi, or that sand actually ends up flowing into, is called the Huang River. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but I think I'm close. So you're going to draw that river, and you can kind of starts about here, winds up close to the Gobi, and then kind of winds out here in this direction. And you're going to label that. Now that Huang, that actually means yellow. Okay, so it it gets yellow from the silt from the Gobi Desert, and they call that silt loess. So you may want to even mark that on your map to help you remember. That's one of our vocabulary terms. But it comes here from the desert and goes into the river. And as you can imagine, we've learned in Egypt that when we get that silt in the river, it really creates a good fertile soil. So we're making some connections here. All right, now another important river, the other larger river in the area of China is the Chang River. Now that one's going to start a little bit lower, and it actually does end up flowing longer. So we're going to wave it around in here, and then it ends up coming up here. And these aren't exact, of course, but we want to just get the idea of where they're located. So we've got that down there. So that's our third geography feature. So the Gobi Desert helps protect or keep China isolated from the north. That's covering it from the north. And then we've got these two rivers. In between these two rivers, similar to the Fertile Crescent where we saw a civilization develop in between two rivers, we have the rich, fertile plain of the North China Plain. So that's going to be located right around here. Make sure you add that to your map. Right in this area here. So that's where civilization first rose, and we see the very first dynasty, the Shang dynasty, starts there in that North China Plain. It is the first dynasty that we see that has a written record, and there could have been others before, but it's the first ones that actually have writing. And that's what you're going to read about in your history textbook today. One of the unique things that they were writing on in those ancient times were actually turtle shells, believe it or not. So I know a lot of my friends here in 6th grade like to shout, "Save the turtles." Well, believe it or not, they use turtle shells to write on. I know, it's killing you. But they would write little inscriptions on the turtle shells, and they would actually use them to predict the future. So they called those oracle bones, and you'll see a picture of one in your textbook today when you read. They would write the inscription there, and then when they would crack the shell, they would use that to read and discover what the future would hold or what they thought would happen. So kind of an interesting fact there. Turtles used to be very common in that area because it was very lush, very green. I'm not sure if they are so much today, but there used to be a lot of turtles there in that area. So that's our North China Plain. That's where that civilization first rose up. Now, over to the west, there are a couple of geography features that are protecting China from the west, where it kind of really isolated them from countries like India. It really prevented them from having interaction from those people. One is the Himalayas. Now, the Himalayas are a very tall mountain range over here in this area, so you're going to draw yourself some mountains and label those the Himalayas. So we didn't see a lot of people coming into China from the west because they would have to traverse these very, very tall mountains, and that just wasn't easy for them to do. So they would choose not to. Also up here in the northwest, we had another desert here. So you're going to label this desert. And that protected them from the northwest. So again, we've got deserty, sandy shores. And then the last geography feature that really helped keep China isolated was actually the Pacific Ocean over here to the east. So you have to remember they didn't have ocean liners to travel on. There weren't these huge ships, no airplanes. So it would have been very difficult to travel across that vast Pacific Ocean. So it really kept the China area isolated, and that's part of the reason why we see their culture developed into such a unique and different culture than anything we've studied so far this year. So hopefully you got that all on your map. Today for your reading, I want you to dig into your history book and please read pages 254 to 257. Now, as you're reading, I do want you to take notes. So in your packet, you've got 2 more pages here today to complete. I want you to complete page 100 and page 101. All right, so let's see here. So page 100 is just a simple, I'll give you a quick peek, vocabulary words. You guys are familiar with those. You've done those before. Answer the question or rewrite the question of the vocabulary term. And then again, quick peek. You're going to complete page 101, just taking notes, just writing down the main things. And yes, please answer that bottom question. I know a lot of you like to skip those. Answer that bottom question for me. All right, so again, dojo points up for grabs. If you were paying attention, wrote those notes down, send me an email, and I will add dojo points to your balance. And that's it for today. Go ahead and get started on that reading and completing your note-taking, and make sure you know those vocabulary terms. We are going to have section 1 quiz tomorrow, so really pay attention to those vocabulary words. That quiz will take place on Kahoot. I'll email out that code tomorrow so that way you have time to study today. And I hope you guys are all doing well. Love you. Bye.